Pizza, the world's most perfect food. Except it wasn't always perfect, and for most of history it wasn't even food rich people would touch with a 10-foot pole. We're going back to ancient Naples, a city so poor that people were literally eating flat bread with whatever garbage they could find on top. This is the origin story of the dish that now generates $145 billion a year. And it starts in the slums. Naples, 1700s. If you were wealthy, you ate elaborate multi-course meals with servants and silverware. If you were poor, which most people were, you ate on the street. No plates, no forks, just hands. Street vendors sold focaccia, a flat bread that bakers had been making since the Romans. But Neapolitans did something different. They started adding toppings, not because it was gourmet, because it was cheap. Tomatoes had arrived from the New World a century earlier, and Europeans thought they were poisonous. Seriously. They called them poison apples. The upper classes wouldn't go near them, but the poor didn't have options. They added tomatoes to their flat bread along with garlic, lard, anchovies, whatever was available. It was survival food, street fuel for dock workers and beggars. The dish didn't even have a proper name yet. Some called it pizza, derived from an old word meaning to pinch or pluck, referring to how the dough was pulled. Others just called it bread with stuff on it. Elegant, right? This went on for decades. Pizza remained the food of the absolutely desperate. If you were eating pizza in 1750, you were announcing to the world that you had failed at life. It was the ramen noodles of the 18th century, except ramen noodles didn't come with the social stigma of potential poisoning. Then, in 1889, something ridiculous happened. Italy had just unified, and the new king and queen decided to visit Naples. Queen Margarita was curious about this street food everyone kept talking about. Her advisors probably told her it was a terrible idea. She insisted anyway. A pizzaiolo named Raffaele Esposito was summoned to make pizza for royalty. The pressure was immense. He created 3 pizzas, and one of them featured tomatoes, mozzarella, and basil. Red, white, and green. The colors of the new Italian flag. Extremely patriotic, possibly calculated. The Queen loved it. She sent a thank you letter, which Esposito immediately framed and hung on his wall, because he understood marketing better than most people today. Overnight, pizza went from peasant garbage to nationally recognized cuisine. The dish was renamed Pizza Margarita in her honor. But here's what nobody tells you: this didn't make pizza international. Not even close. For another 50 years, pizza remained almost entirely confined to Naples. The rest of Italy barely cared. Rome had its own food culture. Milan thought Neapolitans were unserious. Pizza was still regional street food with a fancy backstory. What actually launched pizza into global domination wasn't Italian. It was American. And the way it happened involved immigrants, coal ovens, and a fundamental misunderstanding of what pizza was supposed to be. Italian immigrants arrived in America by the millions between 1880 and 1920. They brought pizza with them, but nobody wanted it. Americans looked at this oily, floppy street food and recoiled. It was too foreign, too working class, too ethnic. Early pizzerias opened in New York's Little Italy and catered exclusively to Italian immigrants who were homesick. If you weren't Italian, you didn't eat pizza, period. Then came World War II. American soldiers landed in Italy and got their first taste of pizza in Naples. They were shocked. This wasn't fancy European cuisine. It was cheap, filling, and actually tasted incredible. When they returned home, they wanted more. Suddenly, pizza had an audience beyond immigrant neighborhoods. Veterans came back talking about this amazing food they'd discovered overseas. And Americans were finally willing to try it. But American pizza wasn't Neapolitan pizza. Not even close. Italian pizza was thin, soft, eaten with a fork and knife. Americans wanted something they could hold. They added more cheese, thicker crust, heavier toppings. They turned it into a handheld meal that could survive a long subway ride home. Pizzerias started popping up everywhere. Frank Pepe in New Haven, Lombardi's in New York, Pizzeria Uno in Chicago. Each region created its own version. Chicago went deep dish. Detroit did square pans. New York perfected the foldable slice. By the 1950s, pizza wasn't just food. It was a cultural moment. Families ordered it for dinner. Teenagers ate it at parties. It became the unofficial fuel of American suburbia. The frozen pizza aisle appeared in supermarkets. Pizza Hut opened in 1958. Domino's in 1960. The business model shifted from artisan bakeries to franchised efficiency. Delivery drivers became as common as mail carriers. Italy watched this happen with mixed feelings. Purists were horrified. Americans were drowning pizza in toppings, turning it into a carnival attraction. But the global market didn't care about authenticity. It cared about accessibility. Pizza chains spread worldwide. Japan, Brazil, Australia, every country adapted it. The Japanese added mayo and corn. Brazilians added green peas. Swedes put banana on it, which Italians are still processing emotionally. Today, pizza is a $145 billion global industry. There are more pizzerias in New York City than in all of Naples. The dish that started as peasant survival food is now served at wedding receptions, sports arenas, and Michelin-starred restaurants. You can get pizza delivered by drone in some cities. None of this would have happened if Queen Margarita hadn't taken a chance on street food in 1889, or if American soldiers hadn't come home craving that taste from Naples. The food snobs were wrong, the tomatoes weren't poison, and the flatbread with garbage on top became the most successful dish in human history. Late one night in 1962, a college student in Michigan ordered a pizza and waited 3 hours for it to arrive cold. He got so annoyed, he decided to guarantee 30-minute delivery or the pizza was free. That student was Tom Monahan, and his annoyed solution became Domino's. Pizza went from royal delicacy to fast food commodity in 70 years flat. The Neapolitans who invented it would be horrified, confused, and possibly impressed by the sheer audacity of what we've done to their desperate street snack. From poison apples to private jets delivering pies across continents. Not bad for bread with garbage on top.